You are about to witness history in the making.
Good evening, good afternoon, probably good morning. I've forgotten, it's been so long. Oh no.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome.
Thank you, Haydn, and welcome to the show. I do apologise. Yeah, thanks guys. You know you're going to rip us over this, but yeah, we've been away for a little while, so something just you forget. Dementia sits in at my age. I don't know about anyone else's, but
Well, I think there's been a lot of life things for you and me recently, haven't they?
yeah, you could say that again. So anyway, how you doing, pal? How are you? If we say welcome to the next Pop Culture Gamers episode.
Yeah, 154.
I'm nearly on 155.
Yeah.
So, how are you, pal? Anyway, you okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Had a couple of weeks off, which has been great. I've not done a lot of gaming, though, I must admit, but I have been doing more sort of like developing our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And actually got quite a few subscribers from some of the stuff I've been doing as well. But we do need more followers, so don't forget, you can visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/popculturegamers, and subscribe there. And if you're already there and subscribed, congratulations. And if you're not, press that subscribe button.
If you want my dad to do it as well.
Yeah, get your mum and dad to do it, your kids, anyone. We don't care. We just want the numbers up. Other than that, I've been on a bit of a spending spree.
I've gathered that.
I got one of these for a start off. Sinden light gun, because it's going into my other project, which is to build a retro gaming machine so that I can install all of the ISOs and that I've got from my like PlayStation and stuff like that, because I've got one of these. So this is a HP Elite Desk G2 800, which I've upgraded. This has got 16 gig of RAM in it. I've put in an NVMe SSD. It's already got a normal SSD in there as well. So it's like 1.5 terabytes of storage. And I've also upgraded it, even though it's technically, because of the processor, which is a i5. It's an older i5, and it's just the one below being supported by Windows 11. I've got around that because Microsoft do allow you to do it, but you do have to jump through a few hoops. And you do get support as well, despite what they say. You do still get, the updates and stuff like that. So, as long as that lasts, because let's face it, Microsoft can't really just whip away Windows 10 support next year and then say, bye-bye, and leaving a load of people with decent PCs, basically. So, I've installed Windows 11 on there. That was more of an experiment, though, because I can't make my mind up whether or not I'm going to run Retrobat or Batasera from that for my ROMs, basically. So, but there's a couple of options. So
you'll be completely indulging in retro.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I have so many old games that why not?
Well, that's what floats your boat, then. Yeah, obviously. Some of those older games come back in another form later in their lifetime.
Yeah, because another pickup I got was this.
That's right, yeah. Did we talk about that one last time? I can't remember.
We talked about the Mini. This is the Maxi.
Right.
So it's not a normal Commodore 64.
Now, do those keys actually work or not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a fully working keyboard
Mm.
on there as well. Because what I wanted to do was actually play some of the text adventures like the Incredible Hulk and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, but that you type in.
Mm.
Because I was never very good at them when I was younger, and I thought I might be a bit better at them.
Actually, they're probably more harder than you think.
Yeah, they probably are. They probably are.
Because we go back to retro games. I know you do a lot more than I do, but you go and play something and think, God, how did I complete this last time? It's so freaking hard.
Yeah, exactly. But I've been doing a few different things. So, I mean, one of my favourite retro games was obviously Wipeout.
Mm.
Which you can say it's retro because it's PS1 era, believe it or not. Doesn't feel right calling it,
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, one of my favourites is coming back on the Xbox Series X, so should probably be going for Metal Gear that way.
Mm.
When it comes out in, I think, October.
Yeah. But I'm going to play. Oh, excuse me. I've been playing Wipeout in different versions, but through emulation. So I've been playing like the PlayStation versions, all of them. Because there was 5 versions on the PlayStation 1. There was like Wipeout, I can't remember what it was called, and then there was like Wipeout XL, and then there was Wipeout 3, and then there was Wipeout Special Edition and another version, and that was just on the PlayStation. And then when you actually come to it, there's a PSP version which I did under a bit of emulation, which was Wipeout 2048. I'll tell you what, that looked incredible on a big screen. It was quite amazing, actually, to see.
I'd like to see what they look like. So I would just imagine them all being blocks, if you know what I mean.
No, have a look on the YouTube channel because I've put the video up. But yeah, there's a few games on there because one of the hardest ones to emulate is on the PlayStation Portable. Is I forgot what it's called. God of War on the PSP, and yeah, I've had it running absolutely smoothly, upscaled and everything. It looks really good. Surprisingly enough, considering it was for a portable machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, done that. Bought a Mayflash arcade stick as well.
I think I did see that, didn't I?
Well, I did an unboxing.
No, didn't we see on the show?
No, not last time, but that's it.
Yeah.
And it's got Sanwa joysticks and buttons.
Right.
So if you're, for the uninitiated, Sanwa's the ones that are in the arcade machines. I got a new 3DS as well. I picked it up £55.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just a white one. It was in a bargain clearance place. I mean, it's a refurbished one. But I used it to play Starfield, as I showed you on my.
Yeah, you can't play Starfield like that. Blimey. Like this.
You've seen the evidence on our Facebook.
Yeah, but you can't. Man, that game is so involved.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway.
Yeah. But it was good for a wind up.
I didn't. It wasn't even wind up. I was just touching, going, yeah, whatever. I'm too busy playing Starfield.
Apart from then, you had your comment of, "It's not a game to play on the go." What else? I got over 700,000 gamer score recently. I think I'm at about 710 now. And then the great thing is, actually, two things. I went on to Gaming Generations podcast with Ian Hamilton, who was one of our community members as well. So hi to him and thanks for the invite on there. He's actually invited us to go on to their Christmas show to do some sort of quiz against Gaming Generations team. I think it might be a little bit, one-sided if they're
I think it will be.
Questions.
Yeah, I know it probably will be. It'll be a walkover from their perspective, but there you go.
But I was glad to say that evidently they've had these for everybody who they've had on, because I think they've been starting a few months. Everybody they've had on, they've had 5 questions, which you choose the subject and then they ask the questions. And I got 5 out of 5, the first one to get it. And my specialist chosen subject was Assassin's Creed, so I did not let down the pop culture gamers side. I'm glad to say, and thank you, Ian, for the questions, because it was actually a really good crack. Actually, I really enjoyed it. And then also because I've been trying to work on linking in with some indie developers. One of the ones that I've got involved with is Out of the Bit. And I've actually done an interview with them because they've got coming out on the Xbox next week and the Nintendo Switch. They've got Full Void. It's already out on Steam, but they were highlighted in the Evercade showcase.
Is it actually, can you see it on the Microsoft Store at the minute? Is it on there?
Sorry?
Is it on the Microsoft Store at the moment?
Yeah, you can pre-order it, and you get a discount at the moment.
I wanted to see what it looked like. That was all. I was curious.
Yeah. Well, I've done a preview of it. It's very much sort of like another world of Beneath the Steel Sky, sort of flashbacky kind of look.
Yeah.
But it's very much a homage to the 80s, early 90s action adventure games, but with a modern sort of twist to it.
Okay.
So I spoke to their graphic artists and to their owner, Ali, who's from Sicily. So yeah, it was a really good interview, and that's actually now done. It's uploaded. I'm just wanting them to just have a look at the interview, make sure there's nothing that they wanted to add in before we go, because it's not a sponsored thing. I mean, if they've given us the Steam and Xbox versions of the game to test out for doing achievement walkthroughs and that, and for review purposes. But in terms of they offered to do an interview with us as well if we wanted, and it was absolutely great, because it's really nice to hear sort of like some of that development session. So that will be out by the latest Wednesday, and it's they talk about all of the Full Void game, which, like I said, was a showcase one for the Evercade. It's the first Evercade game that's a solo game on a cartridge. Because normally you get 8 or 12 games on one cartridge on the Evercade, but it's it's a great modern old-fashioned game.
Well, I'm just looking at it, so it's depending on how you got your Xbox set up, it's there for $10.99.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2D.
Yeah, it's a 2D sort of like graphics, but evidently some of the graphics were originally created in 3D.
Right.
But then flattened down to a 2D sort of perspective. But it's it's sort of like an action adventure puzzle sort of game, and there's no. It's very much, if you think about the way that Inside is. It's very much sort of like that, but with pixel art.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer now.
Yeah, definitely worth a purchase. It's not the longest game, don't get me wrong, but there's some good, good puzzles in there, and it's an enjoyable sort of thing. I mean, I've completed it 3 times now.
Oh, okay.
I had to complete it a couple of times. Just first time to ever run through for where the achievements were and figure out the best way to get to them, and then once for a nice clean run through.
You want to record the good run, not the first run.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in terms of because of the way that the graphics are and everything, and if I think about it while I'm playing it, I can actually because it's like a room-to-room sort of view as well. I can actually cut it so that I can cut from one room to another and get a perfect playthrough without having to do a perfect playthrough. But one of the things with this game is the hidden achievement. So close your ears if you're going to buy this game and you don't want to hear this for the next 10 seconds, but is to witness all of the animations of the deaths in the game. So you have to die. And I was trying to do a perfect run through without dying. Got to the end, I thought, I've unlocked all the achievements, and I said,
no,
oh, there's a hidden one. And then I did my research on it. I thought, oh God, it's a bloomin' death one. And then I had to figure out which one it was, and I was talking to Rosalina in Out of the Bit about have I missed something here? Because I couldn't, when you get that one that you're just not doing, and she confirmed which what I thought, so I just went through the whole game again and killed myself as many times as I possibly could, figuring out where each sort of death was, because you have to have killed by different types of enemies, killed by electrocution, killed by jumping, Yeah. It's not a nightmare. It's dead easy to do, and also because the checkpoints are very close, you're not backtracking for ages. That's why it's a more modern game, because the checkpoints are normally on the same screen as that you're on, so you're not like having to backtrack 20 minutes. In fact, the only bit where you've really got to do any backtracking is about 3 screens, and it's right at the end where you're in the big, for want of a better term, boss battle, but you're not doing a boss battle. But it's a really nice game. Really enjoyed it, and it was a great interview. They really gave us the time. Gave us great.
Are you going to tag it into the show here, or are you going to put it out separate?
It'll be separate. It's going to be done as a special.
Okay.
But I'll be releasing it as a podcast and as a vodcast, and the vodcast has footage in. And stuff like that as well. So and also some of their other games as well, because they've done like a Micro Machines sort of one and a soccer one, but they're all based on like modern twists on 80s sort of gaming.
But the soccer one be like a overhead, probably with a little
feet. Like Kickoff.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
it's like Kickoff but with extreme power ups.
So I remember the Italian 9, not Italian 9, the Italian one, whatever came out at the time. I think that was on one of the Sega machines. I think I played it on. So not Italian 90, because that would be the 90s, but it was something similar. Sort of thing,
Yeah, I know what you mean. So that's me. So what about you, Steve?
Not a lot. So I've had a week off. For our wedding anniversary. Try to get to the cinema. I can't remember when we last spoke. So obviously I've got big issues with my knee, and I couldn't get to the cinema. So I stopped a few viewings, but thanks to Sky Store and the free code, I got to watch a couple of movies, which we'll talk about later. You did talk about Indiana Jones, didn't you?
Talk about what, sorry?
Indiana Jones, or did you say that?
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
We were talking about it. And
the Flash, we mentioned the Flash. We spoke about the Flash, I remember.
Yes.
But I don't remember if you did Indiana Jones.
No, I don't think that we did Indiana Jones, but we've both seen that now, haven't we?
Yeah. So I saw that I saw that a couple of days ago.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
No, not yet. That's be on my list, but I did see through a code from Sky, being a now platinum user. I don't know what that means really, but there you go. I purchased for free Evil Dead Rises, which I watched last night, which was interesting.
Nice.
Other than that, really, a few things delayed. Minor wise, I think Indiana Jones is a bit behind from Disney. I've had an email from them. I've got a Kickstarter vinyl coming soon for a horror documentary, but that's a little way off yet. He's just getting the last bits ready for that, to get that pressed. Other than that, really, not a great deal. I did pick up, because I'm pre-ordering stuff like yourself. Jaws finally came. a couple of days ago. And Zavvi, being Zavvi, didn't release it early, did they? They're not the greatest, but I do have it. I've opened it up and had a good look at it. It's got a lot of bits and bobs on it. So, and the discs are identical to the original 4K release. But there's some nice bits and pieces added to it to make it like a good package for a favourite film of yourself.
Yeah.
I did pre-order The Exorcist with, who did I order that with? I think it was Zavvi. So the 50th anniversary is coming out in October. So same thing with that one there. That flew off the shelves like you wouldn't believe. And another one I took a while to pick up was this vinyl, which won't be your cup of tea. I know that for sure. But this here is Zombie, which is a director's cut. Fabio Fritz's music to Zombie Flesh Eaters. And it sounds marvellous. My cup of tea. But yeah, really good. Other than that, not really. I mean, bought a fridge, bought some new pots and pans. I will say though that I'm trying to send back a Ninja Zero Stick frying pan. It didn't zero stick. It was crap, awful. I ended up going to I went to Asda and picked up a pot pans box set. They did, and they're brilliant. I've got them for the same price as I did for that pan, which I've got to send back to Amazon. And they're great for non-stick. Really are good. I don't know if you cook yourself much, or do you leave that to
no. I do my share.
But it was always the egg test on frying pans, and it was dreadful, honestly. Ninja have let me down. So, but there you go. But I've got another set of pans, which is pretty good. So yeah, other than that, what else are we doing? So I did the Film 89 episode with the 60th anniversary of The Great Escape. Did that quite a while ago, and that's out in the wild. Other than that, not much more. Just been playing a game, because I didn't play much like yourself. I've been doing Destiny, of course, as a religion.
Yeah.
But another game from Bethesda came out, and I haven't played anything else, but we'll talk about that later, I feel. Anyway, should we move on?
Yes, indeed.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, so what news have you got for us, Haydn?
Okay, so the news this week, we have Sony PlayStation price increase, or PlayStation Plus, I should say. So Sony is increasing the price of all of the memberships for PlayStation Plus starting from this month. So from Wednesday, the 6th of September, the current prices will be increased by between £10 and £20 for us UK subscribers, with similar price rises in the US. So basically the PlayStation...
Dollar for pound, is it?
Sorry?
$1 for pound, basically.
A month, more or less, yeah. Well, or more. So basically, PlayStation Plus Essentials tier is going from $49.99 to $59.99. PlayStation Plus Extra will rise from $83.99 to $99.99, and then the Premium will go up from £100 to $120.
How do you feel about it?
I think, given the fact of what is in there, because I know that there's like 600 games, but no, Sony, it's a bad move. We're in, effectively speaking, a recession. People are going to food banks. People can't make ends meet. That £20 a year could be enough to make or break some people, because people's finances are so finely balanced at the moment. And let's face it, they are a greedy company. They are turning into Sony of old again, because Sony, I think, when they lost out to the 360 generation, really tried harder with the PlayStation 4 sort of sort of generation. But in terms of what they're doing now, I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's it's 20 quid. That's, it's inflation is not at 20%.
No, I mean, if you consider how the Xbox went up, which was a gradual few quid,
Yeah.
Which everyone can swallow, and you're hearing about Disney for their subscriptions, how they're working at the moment, and they're pretty poor.
Yeah. Well, I think that the era of subscription services for video is going to come crashing down because there's too many of them.
Yes, I mean, I only subscribe to one. I am with another, but through my daughter. But
yeah, you see, I'm not. You see, I get Sky, Amazon, but to be honest, Amazon because you also get the delivery as well. Netflix, Apple TV, because stuff on there I'm watching, and there's some really good stuff on there at the moment, and Disney. So I have basically most of it.
Yeah, because I mean, I just have Netflix and Sky, and Amazon Prime. And that's pretty much enough, I think, for what I need. I know Apple TV there was a few bits and pieces, but you haven't got time to watch everything anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, there is some good stuff on Apple at the moment, and there is some good stuff coming as well. I'm hoping that For All Mankind Season 4 will be appearing in the next few months. But at the moment, I'm really hooked onto Foundation.
Right.
Which is obviously based on the Isaac Asimov books, but that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I cancelled my Audible today. I have that. What I do with that, I have that running for a while, build up a few credits, and then I don't do it for maybe 7 or 8 months. So I've got like 6 or 7 books now that I want to. I've picked up.
So I've got about 30 books on there. I think I've probably listened to 5 of them. I
do like to listen to a good book. I picked up a couple. I think I picked up William Shatner's autobiography. There's one. Because I've cancelled it. I was going to wait for Patrick Stewart's, which comes out next month.
Yeah.
But that can wait another time. But it is what it is, really. But yeah, you can't have everything. Right, I've got Paramount Plus with Sky as well, which is okay.
Oh yeah, I've got Paramount Plus as well, but through Sky.
But I need to talk to Sky because everything's run out with me. I've got to go and have a serious chat with them and see what they can do. Because the price has gone through the roof. By about 60 quid. I didn't realise it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, we don't have the sports, and I think ours is about 50. But we do have the movies.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the movies and the football are the main two things anyway. But yeah, I know it's dreadful. But yeah, still tough times. I mean, I purchased my fridge one way to do it. It was like an emergency purchase. I don't like to spend that sort of money, but I had to do it.
Yeah.
So the pot goes dry.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So, any other news?
Yes, so Saint Row developer Volition has been closed down. So the 30-year-old studio behind games such as Descent and Saints Row has suffered a full closure following the basic failure of Saints Row in terms of it being a reboot. The developer's been behind some games like, obviously we said Descent, but also Free Space, Red Faction, and as well as Saints Row. An official announcement actually came through LinkedIn, but and staff on Twitter have been discussing the closure, basically lamenting the death of the veteran studio. And although many staff are describing the studio as being shut down, others claim that they've still got jobs, which is good news. It might be a closing down but absorbing into another company. But what it's likely to mean is that Volition as a separate entity will no longer exist, but staff have been kept on to work at Gearbox. And although Volition is best known for Saints Row, it started life as Parallax Software, if you remember that. Um, and then they went on, after Descent, they went on to making games like Free Space 1 and 2. And also, they were the only games that came close in terms of quality to the X-Wing and TIE Fighter series. Volition also did a lot during the 360 era with Red Faction and Saints Row, obviously, because that's where Saints Row really became sort of popular. So it's such a sad bit of news that, a veteran developer's gone, but, at least the staff have jobs still.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not easy, but yeah, I mean, as you say, the recession's still here. People still want their jobs, and yeah, I think we will still be like this for a few years to come. I think anyway. I think it's going to take a while to stabilise itself personally, but there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I go and do is that games of the week we got there this month?
New releases basically for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so right. So bear with me,
the
Ryan.
bolds don't mean anything.
The bolds. Okay, so let me start from the top. In September 11th, we've got Humour, a detective noir story. Intern Nights on the on the PlayStation, PS4, PS5, and PC on September 12th. We have The Isle Tidal Hotel on all platforms September 12th. Also, we have Noir on PC and PlayStation. September 13th, we've got Heretics Fork on the PC. 13th, we've got Super Bomberman on all platforms. 14th, we've got Ad Infinitum, PC and PlayStation and Series X. 14th, also, we have AX Oxtol on all platforms. I'm not sure what that one is. Then also we have Construction Simulator, the Sunny Pack DLC on all platforms. Keep going with the 14th. We've got the Crew Motor Fest on all platforms. Heavy Duty Challenge, that's PC and PlayStation.
And Series X.
And Series. So yeah, I've got a Blu-ray TV here on my eyes. Sugar Sack on the PC on the 14th. 15th, we've got the Baby Shark Sing and Swim Party on all platforms. Beaten Katos on 1 and 2 HD remaster on the Switch. We've got Boity Byteland which is overlocked PC September 15th. The 18th, we've got Gloom Haven on the Switch. Dragon Air Silent Gods on the PC on the 19th. Farming Simulator 22, all platforms on the 19th. Lies of P on all platforms. We've got Mortal Kombat 1. That's PC, PlayStation, Xbox and Switch. Is that remade or is that a remake or what? Do we know?
No, it's a new game. For some reason, they've gone right the way through up until 11 and then they've gone back to 1.
The 1, okay. You Suck at Parking. No, I'm not too bad. This is a stay there. PS4 on the Switch. September 20th, we've got Men of War 2 on the PC. Party Animals, all platforms there with PC and Xbox on the 20th. Also 20th on PC, we've got Witchfire. Hellsweeper VR on PC, VR, PSVR 2, 21st. Payday 3, that is on all platforms again. Also with the 21st, we've got Warhaven for PC. Train Sega on all platforms on the 22nd. And lastly, Slap and Beans 2, all platforms. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot.
I think
it's not for me, but yeah.
No, but I think we're starting to get back to that, we're in the run up to Christmas sort of thing where there's a lot of development, and I think that we're seeing the results of COVID now getting further away, because if you remember, last couple of years we've not had a lot at this time of the year because of COVID, because games haven't been finished in the development, whereas we're a year on again. So okay,
cool. So if we move swiftly, we go to gaming this week, or our gaming week, shall I say?
Yeah.
Right, do you want to start, Haydn? Because you've got a couple of bits and pieces there to talk about.
Yeah, I've got several, haven't I? If we use a segue one that we've both played.
Yeah.
So I've already mentioned Full Void. So as I said, it's from out of the bits. It's currently on Steam, and it's on Xbox and Nintendo from 12th of September, and then the end of next month we'll have it on the Evercade. And there's two versions of it. There is the normal version and the special edition, which has like an art of the game book and stuff like that with it as well. Lots of other goodies. The game's heavily influenced by Another World and Flashback, games from the 80s, but has a more contemporary influence from games like Limbo and Inside. And it's a game I've really enjoyed. It takes the best of the old style and adds a modern twist to it. Like I said, it's not a difficult game. It's just one of those things that's a chill out game. It's gentle puzzles. It's got a creepy atmosphere. It's got a good story, but it's told without any words. And it's very much sort of like Inside and Little Nightmares, but in a 2D 80s sort of graphics style. Some great pixel art in the game. I love the fact that the achievements are mostly, when I say missable, they're not missable because of chapter select, but if you play on your first playthrough, you can very easily miss them. I think that there's like one that is for completing the game, or maybe two that you will definitely get as you play the game, as long as you fall at some point. But other than that, all of the rest of the ones, they are like individual little cutscenes that you discover in part of the game, but really enjoyable. Like I said, I've interviewed the developers, and we've got a special podcast coming later on this week. And I've ordered this special edition for the Evercade handheld and VS consoles. And I'm finalising an achievement hunter guide. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what I was doing when you messaged me to say I'm ready. Because I've got to get it finished for tomorrow, because I've got to release it at midnight, at the end of tomorrow, so that I can, everybody can have it there. Because the other thing I've started doing as well is I've started putting on the achievement hunter videos that I do. I've been linking them into True Achievements as well. I'm thinking about True Achievements. I was the first person to 100% this on True Achievements.
This is not out yet.
Hey, it's that. Trust me, I've had pre-release codes, and I've been like the 9th person to complete games. Yeah. So yeah, I've beaten everybody this time. So I'm really happy about that. So I want to make sure I've got the first achievement hunter video out there as well. Mortal Kombat. So that's that game. So I would highly recommend it. The first week you get 20% off, but if you've got an Evercade, get it on there, especially the special edition, because it looks really good. And watch out for our interview with them, because they're a great bunch of guys who I talked to. It's really interesting interview. We had a good time talking to each other, and they said they're going to keep in contact with us for future developments as well, because we've got some things in the pipeline, so all good. Next one is I've been playing Mortal Kombat.
Why? I don't see. I played this a long time ago.
Yeah.
On the Xbox, and I've got number 10 as well. So I do play the fighting game, but for you to play that, I was just a bit astounded. Or is it because you're using certain?
Yeah, my Mayflash arcade stick. Yeah, because what I've never liked playing is on a normal controller, whereas you go back to the arcade stick and it just flows perfectly. But I actually picked this up as part of what must have been a humble bundle, and it's just sort of like left there, and I thought, let's have a go on that. And I absolutely had a blast. In a matter of fact, I think that some of the fatalities that you have in the game, or the finishing bits, one of them I've included in our intro because I thought that looks really cool.
I think I've done it. They're not easy to sometimes they're not easy to pull off.
No, they're not.
Especially on the controller. But I think I did. Did I have Terminator in number 11? I think I might have done. I can't remember now.
Don't know.
Yeah, I used to had some extra bonus bits. So I think I might have had Predator or Terminator or Robocop in it or something like that.
Yeah.
which is far much more fun than the original characters. But
Yeah.
yeah, glad you
But
liked it.
yeah, it's just a bit of a change of pace for me, to be honest. It's and obviously using an arcade stick, it makes it feel much more of an arcadey kind of experience, more enjoyable than with a, because I don't know what it is, but for some reason wiggling your hand about on an arcade stick doing some of those moves seems to be easier than moving your thumb left to right or up and down. I don't get it, because you've got more movement with your right hand on the arcade stick than you've got on your thumb. But
depending what you're used to playing with, I never played these in the arcades that much anyway. So I'm used to using a controller.
Yeah.
Even some of the older games.
Yeah, you see, for me, I played these all in the arcades, and then when I got games like Tekken on the PlayStation original, I had still have the PlayStation arcade stick.
Yeah.
So I'm very used to playing arcade stick as fighters, but I've never actually had an arcade stick up until now.
How far did you get the story of it? Did you, because it's quite a bit to do in the story with all the different characters.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm slowly progressing, because I've actually been playing 10 and 11 simultaneously, so the stories have sort of blurred into each other. Is it 11 the one where Raiden is evil?
Oh, I can't remember now, because I've played donkeys. It was about a year ago, I think.
Yeah, but no, I've enjoyed playing them. It's just a very much a change of pace for me.
Jolly good.
The next game that I've played is When the Past Was Around. Okay. So this is a Game Pass game on PC and Xbox. There's only one lot of achievements between PC and Xbox, so no stack. Boo. But basically, it's a point-and-click story about life, love, loss, and moving on, basically. And it's a beautifully hand-drawn and animated game, and the puzzles are relatively simple, and it's a good chill-out game to play. It'll take a couple of hours, and I have 100% walkthrough, which has been quite popular. I've been seeing a lot of traffic coming through True Achievements actually from it, so cool. But yeah, it's a good game. So if you want to get an extra 1,000 gamers going, you want a bit of a chill out thing, and you want some support there, there's that achievement guide for that. And then, if you remember, I said in the intro, I was playing Wipeout. So I got to thinking, other than Wipeout the Omega Collection, which is on PS4, what is there Wipeout-ish? I mean, I know that, could go on Nintendo and go to F-Zero sort of thing, but F-Zero was never really a competitor to Wipeout as far as I was concerned. Sorry, Nintendo fans, but...
There was only Wipeout anyway, I think, wasn't it, really, to be fair?
More or less, I think Wipeout was sort of like a genre on its own for quite a while, but there's lots of alternatives now. And one that I picked up on was Redout 1 and 2. I was quite surprised when I found out about them to actually realise I already owned them. Because I picked them up in a humble bundle, and it'd been one of the many games that I'd added to my account and never done anything with.
Yeah.
So I thought,
cool.
Yeah, like many others, like hundreds and hundreds. So I thought, oh, really cool. So I started playing Redout 2. And obviously it's a sequel to Redout, surprisingly enough. And this is very much a carbon copy of Wipeout in a lot of respects. The ships are very similar. You've got weapon power-ups, you've got anti-gravity racing, all of that sort of thing. The game feels like you're going blisteringly fast in these ships as well. If you want to have a see what this game looks like, just go to our YouTube channel. I've put in footage from there, but while I'm talking now, I've no doubt be playing footage of the game now anyway, so you'll be able to see that. But if you're in the podcast, you'll have to go to the YouTube channel. And then, yeah, so, you can strafe and tilt as well as the normal controls as well. So it's very, very much like Wipeout. There's 10 different locations, 36 tracks, which can also be reversed to give you 72. There's different modes, including competitive multiplayer. There's a comprehensive customization of your vehicle with different engines, wings, and different stuff like that as well. It's a great futuristic soundtrack from electronic artists, including Giorgio Moroder, which is evidently something that they made a big thing of in terms of like the description. I've never heard of him, but
Sorry, you've never heard of Giorgio Moroder?
No.
Really?
Have you?
I have a few of his albums sitting in my shelf.
Fair enough. I haven't, but I don't listen to that sort of music, generally speaking.
Well, no, you've probably seen some of the films with his music in it, though.
Probably.
Like Scarface. What else did he do? Off the top of my head, he's done a few bits and pieces. A few of those 80s movies he was involved in. He worked with Donna Summer, for example, as well.
Right. Okay.
And also worked with Zig Sputnik. And if you remember the beginning of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yes.
Track.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well.
I did a podcast on him with Wrong Reel. Not many moons ago, but about a year ago.
Right,
so,
okay.
Yeah, you need to really listen to that then.
Yeah, no, he's not an artist I've ever been particularly been aware of. But you can't know everybody, can you?
No.
But, it was a great high-speed, fun environments, great, good fun game. Some of the tracks are quite difficult because they don't have the barriers on the edge, so you end up spinning off. And if you hit into them too hard and your energy goes down, then you go crashing through the energy barrier and die anyway. So it feels like it's got a bit more jeopardy than the Wipeout, even though you restart back on the track straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for a modern equivalent, and they're not too badly priced, I think that Redout is free on PC. I certainly have picked it up on the PlayStation 4, and it was £3 in CEX. And then I think that Redout 2 was something like £4.99 or something when I looked at it.
Probably pick it up somewhere on one of those passes you get. It might be there for free somewhere.
Yeah, might well be. So, but I would certainly recommend it if you want to do a bit of anti-grav racing that's on the style of Wipeout. Very enjoyable.
So not the name though to confuse the lawyers.
Yeah. And then my last game is the same one as you've played.
I have played Destiny.
Not that
just
one.
A little bit. No.
Okay, but it's the one that we have both played.
Yeah, well, if I just quickly then, Crota's Rage back, by the way. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
We're in season 22, season of which at the moment, so it's moving along. There was a showcase recently showing you up ready for the next year with Kay coming back and all of that, which is next year as well. But it's what it is. Destiny's going to roll on, obviously. I haven't played much.
It's the final shape, isn't it? Last one.
Yeah. It's I think it's the conclusion to this trilogy and the way they were taking the story. So
yeah, because I must admit, I was thinking it kept going through my head. It's a Shape of Water, and I thought, no, that's a film.
That's a movie from. I can never pronounce the director's name right now, but I'm not going to right now.
Yeah.
But Destiny is what it is at the moment. Yeah. Iron Banner's out this weekend. I had a little quick look earlier, just to have a little nose. But I just went straight back to Starfield. Sorry. So before I start rambling on myself, you've only just started, haven't you?
Well, yeah, hour and 45 minutes.
So you ain't gone
like
really.
That. So I've got to the constellation and have joined the team, and I've had a chat to them, and I'm about to go on my first mission with them.
I must admit that not knowing much about it from spoiler point of view, and I kept away from them. And I've been plodding along on what am I now, level 19. Story did take a little twist and a turn for something else to happen in the game, which I was quite pleased about. and then there's loads to do with that, but I'm not going to say what it is. So I'll wait for you to get to that point at some point. Although it will take a little while. I've done a few. I have done a few missions. I think it's about 80 hours for the main story alone, maybe a bit more, depending on how your gameplay plays. But doing that for the first time, was this on the PC?
On a PC, yeah.
So there's been rumours of a bit of a struggle on PC compared to Xbox. I don't know how you found it.
I didn't find any problems. There was no upside down dragons flying backwards or anything like that.
This game, as I do quote something else, this runs smooth as butter. No bugs. Maybe the odd one you may get, I don't know. But it's like a different scenario for Bethesda.
Yeah, because everybody was going to start calling them Bugfester.
Yes, Haydn. Yes. Okay. So what were your thoughts on the on all the perks? How do you find looking at that? Because obviously you've had to put your character together. Yeah,
I found it to be a bit confusing, to be honest, because it's not. It just sort of like said, what's your backstory? Here, select some of these. Long list.
Yeah, mine's sort of, you can't see mine. You go right to the bottom, really right to the bottom, and now I'm like an alien, and I don't have a backstory.
Right.
I'm mysterious. So.
I see. I chose a backstory.
Yeah.
And I'm a professor.
Oh, okay. What did you call your character?
My own name.
Okay, cool. So he's male.
Yes.
I mean, the perks, I like the way the perks work, that you have to get a challenge for a perk. I don't know if you've noticed this yet.
Yes.
So, for example, rank 1 on the ballistics, which I was on, to get weapons at 10%, needed to kill so many things or whatever, and so on and so forth. And the same with the science for locks. You open up blocks for the stuff on the combat, kill so many spaceships, and so it's not just you give it. It's not given to you. You have to work for it, which I don't mind that at all. It's I think it makes you more involved with the game.
Yeah.
Ship-wise, that's something I'm not even going to talk about yet. Shipbuilding is going to be a completely different ball game. I've been watching videos galore on it. People are recreating ships from Star Wars, Star Trek, and they're not bad. Now, I mean, I don't know what the money is you need for some of this. I mean, I've got a good little purse at the moment because I've not really spent any money. I've just been playing the game, collecting, like my Horde on Destiny, but it's worse on these games. But you're limited to where you can put it. So one of the little negative points at first is that you're going to run out of space to put stuff. And the frontier ship you get for cargo is a bit small. But when you're I'm on my 3rd ship now, and I've got a huge amount now, loads more room to do. I've got 2 people in on the ship. The bigger the ship, the more crew you can have. So I've got Sarah and another woman with me as well. Sarah's in love with me now. She loves me to bits. She even sleeps with me now, so she's sort of hooked. It's funny that how these work in these characters. But she starts giving me credits and bits and pieces when we're going out and about. I think it is typically Fallout 4 in space. However, then you've got the building your own bases as well, which I haven't started yet, which will be interesting to see how that works. The way you have to run in space and jetpacks as well, because you're using oxygen and then you get CO2, so you can't run as fast and stuff like that. So you're going to come up against that sort of problems as well. But I suppose to be sort of realistic to a certain degree, that's how you would do it. But there are ways around that. There are perks you can use to get around certain problems you do with that. The story's not too bad. I found the quest for the Rangers, which I did, which was about 7 chapters. I enjoyed that one. That was really good. And there's nods to sci-fi. You look around in these places where things you recognise.
I mean, to be honest, when I was playing one bit of it, I was thinking, this is a No Man's Sky with better graphics.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the thing that comes to mind is the mining, isn't it? First thing you did when you start the game.
Yeah, but no, when I landed on a planet when I was going to see the constellation, was I landed on a planet and then it was talking about the scanner and there was scanning stuff and there was creatures and some of the creatures were attacking, some were running off, and I ended up scanning a load of stuff. I think I got half of the stuff on the planet scanned that it tells you, to scan. But some of the stuff I just couldn't find, and presumably it's in a different location entirely on the planet.
Yeah, because you can, if you're on the map, if you go to the planet and go right bumper, it gives you a flat surface.
Yeah.
And you can see some unknown places you can go to and stuff like that. There's a lot to discover. I don't know if what they promised is how true it can be to a certain degree. There are a few invisible walls to a certain degree which you get in the game. But the game's huge. If this was going to be Fallout 4, you'd have everything in one area, wouldn't you? Where you've got all these different stars. If you look at the map, weird stuff all over the show. So from that point of view, I do get it. I'm going to be playing this for a long time to come. I know that for sure. And I'm sure there'll be DLC. There'll be patches along the way. I mean, some people were saying, could we have sort of something we can ride between places? So if you're going to do a bit of walking and use your jetpack as well, to do that you need to upgrade your jetpack perks as well. So because that's quite handy for combat when you're jetpacking around trying to shoot people, especially as pirates and stuff like that. Space combat I've really enjoyed. You won't have come across that yet.
I have.
The perks for that are well worth picking up because you'll want to be able to pick out weapons and different parts of their ships to take them out, and you can even board ships and take over the ships as well.
Yeah, no, when I left the planet, I was attacked by 3 ships.
Did they blow up? Did you get them all in the end?
I got them all, yeah.
Yeah, because I find the Frontier ship is a little bit weak. Obviously, everyone knows about the Mantis quest, which you pick up pretty early. So if you look at your notes in your bag, you will see the Mantis one there. So that's well worth doing straight off the back anyway. You see, there's other things to think about because someone put a post on the Facebook about Elite Dangerous, but this is nothing like Elite Dangerous. It's a different thing altogether.
It is. I mean, in some respects, it's like Elite Dangerous with the Horizons expansion pack to a point, but not much to a point.
No,
I think the thing that probably the space combat is one of the closest things to Elite Dangerous because you've got this changing of your power levels and your weapons and your lasers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which you've got to trade off and balance all of that. That was the first thing I did was in terms of the ship was upgrade the power levels to get an extra couple of bars. But in terms of Elite Dangerous is not like a real narrative sort of game.
It's not an RPG, is it?
No.
It's not. So there are similarities to it.
Yeah.
Even jumping. So you want to jump between, when you want to go from point A to point B, it'll give you on the map, it will give you a point through planets. But if you haven't got enough grab for that, you cannot jump it.
No.
And you'll have to go to one planet at a time.
Well, you could that could be the same in Elite Dangerous as well. Elite Dangerous as well. Is that you'd have to, if you didn't have a long jump, you'd have to go from system to system.
Yeah.
So but you can't just take off from a planet and fly into space. You get in and then you take off and then you're in space. There's no in between, and you can't land on a planet. It's all automatic.
Yeah.
And I think because it was Craig who was in the group, was one of our moderators. He was having trouble docking on Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I've been there many times.
Yeah, it's dead easy. Ask for permission to dock, when you're within 5 kilometres, then use your compass, go to the place, hover over, drop your landing gear, align your sights on the crosshair on your scanner on the left-hand side, lower yourself down slowly, not fast, and then you'll land fine.
It's a bit of a learning curve, though, I think.
It's dead easy.
But you played as much as you have, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've played Elite for years and years and years, and Elite Dangerous, I've got hundreds of hours in it as well on all platforms. But I haven't played it for a few years.
Not even since the last expansions they had with the planets.
Since then. But when they dropped support for consoles, because I was primarily playing it on console by then.
Oh, well, did they drop a lot of it out then? Did they?
PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and beyond. They've dropped the support for the Horizons expansion, but it's still available on PC, and I've got lifetime upgrades for.
That's right. Yeah. Is it on Series X? It's on Series X, though, isn't it, or not?
Yeah, it is, but it's only a limited, but more limited to the PC version.
So yeah, no, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I mean, I don't want to say too much because there's so much involved. I don't want to spoil it for people. All I would say is that don't upgrade that Frontier ship too much, because there are better things out there you can pick up for free.
Yeah.
I as much as I can garble on about this, I don't want to, because we've got a lot to talk about anyway still. But yeah, no, this is going to be game of the year for me, without a doubt. And although I've seen some bad press, and I don't know, is it just because of the PlayStation thing? I don't know. People like to have a whinge. I don't know.
Well, it's like I said on the Gaming Generations podcast. If you want to know how much Sony or Microsoft think about you in terms of, and how much they cherish you as a follower and a fan of theirs when you're doing your, fanboy stuff, is it's about the same impact as putting your hand in a bucket of water and removing your hand and watching the hole that is left there. That's about as much impact that you have on those companies. In other words, none. Yeah. So fanboyism, it's pathetic.
It shouldn't be around anymore anyway. I mean, unfortunately, there will be exclusives. We've talked about this many times, but Sony are just as bad in their own way. Well, not really bad. They've been doing it longer than Xbox have. So
the thing is that Sony, for a lot of years, have been investing in the development cycle, and for PlayStation 4, 5 have reaped the benefit of that. Whereas Xbox went through this denial thing, thinking it's okay not to have exclusives, and they've learned the hard way.
I mean, yeah, some things have gone crossover. That's the way it did. But PlayStation won't want to play ball with that. If they, if Microsoft say, we'll give you this, how about you give us, Final Fantasy? Do you know what I mean? And they'll say no to it. So whatever, it's what it is.
Yeah.
If you want to play these games, you've got to buy the machine. And that's simple as that, really. Anyway, anything else before we move on to movies?
No.
Cool. So let's go to movies, TV, and streaming.
In quest of a better life.
Right, it's not a lot of news. Although there's one thing.
Go on, then.
Where we had a loss.
Mike Yarwood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My missus did. She thought it was already dead, but with some of these people at that age, you don't know, do you?
No.
So a lot of people, Mike Yarwood, you won't know who he is. He was a 70s impersonator who raked in, I think, for his best Christmas show, nearly 22 million viewers. And you still can't get that nowadays, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, he was a British great comedian, I would say. In his day.
Yeah.
There was there was a selection of them, wasn't there? It was like Mike Yarwood, Bob Monkhouse.
These different entertainers, weren't there? Even like Bruce Forsyth.
But he's of that generation.
Yeah. But obviously that sort of.
I was thinking of Dave Allen. That was the other one I was trying to remember. Dave,
yeah.
you know, it
Dave
was
lasted, I think Dave lasted a bit longer, but impersonators, it was a thing in the 70s, but it sort of died a death, didn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't entertainment anymore for 80s and 90s really too much.
I mean, the Mike Yarwood show ran from 1982 to 1987. And then, you know, but, you know, he used to have a lot of his own shows and stuff like that. But then he retired, so he's been out of the highlight, you know, or the spotlight for years.
Yeah, because he was living in an old people's home. The same one with Richard O'Sullivan, who's still with us, bless him. But yeah, no, they do start to dwindle off as they get older. I mean, it's funny. I remember him because me and the missus, and now this will not. If I say this character, I don't think people today will laugh at it. And although there will be questions regarding his mental health and who he is and how he is, we just finished watching 3 seasons of Some Others Do Happen. And I've not seen my missus laugh as much recently as she has done watching that show again. It is a comedy, but it is a sad story, really, of one man who struggles in life, but has the heart of gold, you know.
Yeah, he always ends up doing the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Yeah, but I think we got 2 Christmas specials left to watch now, which are going to pop on to watch. But yeah, they were one of a kind shows. We was watching one episode the other night, and the guy that plays Victor Meldrew was in it, and there was a scene where something went wrong when they were chatting away. I could see Michelle Dietrich turning her head, which is Frank's wife, and you know she was laughing. You could tell, and then Frank started to laugh. He started to laugh. They were trying to put it together. They just carried on filming it, and yeah, it worked very well. And then, not too long ago, if you look on YouTube at the comic relief they did, there's one there with Frank Spencer and his wife and his daughter who was going in the Olympics, because she was a cyclist for the Olympics, and it's him trying to get to the drone, the drone they use for the cycling. Yeah. And yeah, that was quite, because he played it as he is now, how old he is, and played that character spot on, and his wife as well.
He's 81.
Yeah, and obviously he did all his own stunts. He did everything, and he even recreates the roller skating in the comic relief one as well.
I mean, you consider that Michael Crawford is like 81 years old. He still looks quite good for 81.
But he ended up being a singer as well, because he ended up being in doing
the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
And the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, he did it as well. But yeah, we just gone through them and we've had a little bit of a laugh rewatching him with his I can't even say it now, amount of Savusius in the back of his, all the fireworks come out the back and all that sort of thing. That man, what a great guy that is. And yeah,
I used to love watching him as a kid, but it's like nowadays it would never be made.
No. But it's on Sky to watch it. That's how we were watching it. We would download, watching a couple of them, and then they all started to download. But
going back to Mike Yarwood, his stuff would probably not be on. The same as like Les Dawson and all of those. I mean, they're all classics, but they're just not woke. And I think that one thing that people forget is that stuff from a different era was from a different era, and some stuff, rightly should not be replayed. But there's other stuff where it's not meant as an offence, and you just sort of like just
Well, from
take a
Frank
chill
Spencer's
pill.
point of view, he obviously had mental issues to a certain degree of some kind. He had some sort of
Yeah.
issues. But yeah, no, it's still. We found it still. We still chuckled, and my missus was belly laughing at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, there isn't really much more news, I don't think, at the moment going around. So, do you want to do the cinema releases?
Well, other than the fact that there's the actors and writers strike in America.
Still going on. It's been on for ages, isn't it?
I know.
They do it every year. They do it every year, don't they?
Yeah, I must admit, I can't say I've got, a lot of sympathy for some of the really multi-million-pound paid actors.
Yeah, it's yeah. I wouldn't like to comment because I don't know what war I'd be treading on if I did that.
Anyway, let's go on to cinema releases.
Okay.
Shall I do those?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So on September the 15th, we've got A Haunting in Venice. We've got Rise of the Foot Soldier, Vengeance, Rally Road Racers, Ball and Shoes, and Tradmaki 2. And then on the 22nd of September, we have The Expendables 4, Dumb Money, It Lives Inside, The Lessons, and The Canterville Ghost.
So yeah, not too much there.
No. I think in terms of Blu-ray and DVD releases as well, it's pretty much similar. If you like Agatha Christie, there's a movie collection for them. There's Karen Gillian's Duel, which might be good. I've not seen that one before. I seem to remember, was Gregory's Girl a decent?
Yeah, don't say you don't know what that movie is. I've got a digital copy of that movie.
I'm trying to remember what it was, to be honest, because it's been so long since I've seen it.
So it's 1980s at school, and Scotland, and it's quite appropriate now because of the women's football.
Yes.
Because one of the girls wants to play in the football team, and he falls in love with her, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But there's another girl in the wings that quite likes him, and so George Sinclair played Gregory.
Yeah, I remember it now.
It's a great. It's 1980 it came out, probably 79.
Yeah, something like that.
It is a really good British movie of its time.
Yeah. I remembered it. I just couldn't remember it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've got Inland, It Follows limited edition and 4K release. We've got NCIS Los Angeles season 14. Jesus, has that really been going on that long? And the collection from 1 to 14. Oppenheimer, the series, presumably that must be BBC or something from 1981. We've got a film I used to love, which was Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. So the 4K release of that's out there. We've got the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the 4K Steelbook, the normal Steelbook, and the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse 4K Blu-ray as well. The Last Emperor, and for September the 18th, there's the 100 Years of Warner Brothers. This is £300, but it does have 30 films on it, so it's about a tenner each.
But you can buy them separately. A lot of them.
You can, but it'll cost you more money. But there's
like, one have I got? I got one of me already. Where is it? And this wasn't too bad, but this one here. Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
You know, and they've got that 100 Warners at the top of the logo.
Yeah, but this Warner's collection, it's got 30 films, including 2001, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, Cool Hand Luke, East of Eden, The Maltese Falcon, Rebel Without a Cause, Rio Bravo, Singing in the Rain, Wizard of Oz, Clockwork Orange, Batman, Beetlejuice, Blade Runner, Enter the Dragon, The Exorcist, which is one you love, The Goonies, Superman the Movie, The Shining, Willy Wonka, A Star is Born, Argo, Elvis, Goodfellas, Mad Max Fury Road, The Matrix, Shawshank Redemption, Training Day, and Unforgiven.
The bulk of those are already out on 4K already.
Yeah, I know that, but if you've not got them and you want a collection of Warner movies,
I wouldn't want to buy them that one, because if we got one disc that's wrong, you need a bitch to send back.
Yeah, it would be.
You know, So I've got probably I've pre-ordered the Exorcist special edition for 4K. And I don't have Mad Max 3. I've got I have that's on Blu-ray though. Excuse me.
Yeah. So
they are bringing them out in dribs and drabs if you look on Amazon anyway.
Yeah, you just because some of those I have no intention of ever owning, but other ones I'm thinking wouldn't mind that one. But there's some other ones. Black Christmas coming out this week or next week. Black Magic Rights, Children Play with Dead Things, Death Dream, Flying Witch Collector's Edition, Scream and Scream Again. Presumably that's not the same as the Scream thing. Stephen King on Scream, Dead Mother, the Night of the Hunted Limited Edition and Rape of the Vampire Limited Edition, Sunday Woman, Twin Dragons Deluxe Edition. Don't know what some of those are, but there's loads of stuff coming out. Anything there that you fancy the look of?
I was probably going to pick up Grogu's Girl actually at some point. I did know that about that one there. The Exorcist already pre-ordered. That's probably about it for the moment. I mean, there are a couple of bits and pieces that have been out on that Warner Brothers 100. There is one there for the vacation movies in 4K. But you want to try and grab them on a deal, if you know what I mean. You want to get them at a decent price.
Yeah.
So you sort of wait for those. You know, some of the older movies, Rio Bravo, Clockwork Orange, is just some of my favourites as well. 2001 as well is one of your favourites. So yeah, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be much more coming out in the next.
And 2001 in 4K is like reference quality.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's worth picking up the. You know, I got the Jaws one on the Vault Film Vault. They do one for 2001 as well, where you get a load of goodies with it as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting it as well. I have to admit. Yeah.
Okay, cinema charts then. Number 5, which has come down from 4 weeks and now down at 5. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Down at 4, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. We've got No Hard Feelings, down from 1 to 2, Elemental, and at number 1, for whatever reason, Indiana Jones and Dark Destiny.
So these are normally a week out, but I'm quite surprised that Oppenheimer's not on there.
It probably is more than a week out, then maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then
well, I picked them up today, so presumably the.
Yeah.
But we're always working a week in hand.
Yeah. Then we got the Blu-ray charts. We got new at 5, Double Impact. Up 1 for 4, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. A new re-release, but the 4K, I'm sure it is, the Time Bandits.
It is the 4K, which I have taken delivery of.
Then up to Super Mario Brothers movie and John Wick Chapter 4. Cool. So what have you been watching?
So for me, one of the things I've been watching has been on Sky, which has been From. Have you heard of this? Have you seen it?
I'm going to look at my phone if I can find it and just put on the Sky app for Little Butchers.
So in terms of From, it's in a nightmarish town in Middle America that traps those who enter. Unwilling residents strive to stay alive and search for a way out, plagued by terrifying nocturnal creatures from the surrounding forest and secrets hidden in the town. So the show has, for me, really kind of like captured that season 1 feeling from Lost. And it actually has Michael, the guy who played Michael. Because Lost Illumini, Harold Perianu, who played Michael, and also link on The Matrix and Reloaded and Revelations as well. But yeah, so he's like the lead star. He's the sheriff of the town, as it were.
I think I've seen a trailer for this on Sky, actually.
Yeah, it is really worth watching.
2 seasons?
2 seasons, yeah. It shows on a Sci-Fi channel, and it's on MGM in the States, evidently. the third season has been greenlit, but obviously because of the writer's strike, when that happens, who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, so well worth it. It is, and these creatures are really creepy that come out because they're like dressed in 1950s clothes and they look like normal people. And then they'll come and tap on the windows and the doors to, the places where everybody's staying in, and they've got these charms on the wall to stop them from being able to enter. But if they open the door and invite them in, then they can come in. But they will like come up to people and knock on the window and say, "Why don't you come outside? It's really nice out here." And they've got these big cheesy grins and stuff like that. And then what they do is when they get hold of people is they literally disembowel them. And all that you see of the people left, the next day is like the head, the broken open rib cage and nothing inside.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. So it's not one to watch with the kids. Let's put it that way.
No.
But really, really enjoyable. My wife and I, we just binged watched it right the way through. It was one of those things of when I picked it up, I thought, oh, good, there's more than one season. And then thinking maybe it only got to 2 seasons, then realising, oh, no, I'm at the end of season 2 and so I have to wait for season 3. So, yeah, definitely well worth a shot, I would say. And also, I like the guy who plays the sheriff as well. He was a good actor on Lost, and he's good in this as well. And he was good on The Matrix as well. The second thing that I've seen, I'm going to talk about, is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Have you been watching this?
Not yet. I was dreading the musical, but I'm so far behind. I'll be able to watch this at my leisure anyway.
Right.
So
well,
don't spoil it.
It's finished now for this season, and we're waiting for the next season.
But that's going to be delayed again.
Yeah, but so the season's ended, and I would say that most of the shows have been on a high. There's been a very big split from some fans in terms of Subspace Rhapsody, which is where they went where the Flash and Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, had only previously gone. I personally, when I heard they were going to do a musical episode, I was like, no, this is wrong. They're ruining Star Trek.
You liked it, didn't you?
However, I watched the episode and I thoroughly enjoyed it. They actually made the reason why everybody's singing. They actually made it have Star Trek logic. It's to do with opening up some stuff linked to the Heisenberg compensators and multiple universes and the laws of multiple universes coming through. But I absolutely loved it. It was a great episode. The Klingons bit was just the bit that was just the clown and glory for me. You will see that if you haven't already seen the clip that I put
saw
on.
your clip. Yeah, I'd already seen.
Yeah, it was Klingon boy band. It was so funny. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this season. I think that last season was good. This season is better. There has been more focus on some of the other characters, particularly Lian Noonien Singh, who's obviously Khan's descendant, and the Captain Kirk, or rather Lieutenant Kirk and Captain Kirk, appear in different parts of the season. He appears first as a captain, later as a lieutenant. There is a reason. It's all to do with timey-wimey.
Don't talk.
But the Lian goes into Earth's past. There's been a lot of retconning in terms of the history of Star Trek because, for those who know, Star Trek, the original series, had Khan in the 90s. And now they've moved into like the 2000s, for when they're born, sort of thing. So there's, but we also saw some of that retconning at the end of Picard season 2 as well. But there's also some stuff that is talked about in that episode that explains why there might have been some retconning as well. If you pick it up, not everybody's going to pick it up. A lot of it's going to go straight over people's heads. But I picked up on it straight away. So effectively speaking, the Strange New Worlds is in technically a different universe to the prime universe of the original series. If you read it the way that I've read it in terms of what they said on the show.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because there were people who were moaning on about, this new show's absolutely rubbish because the ships don't look right. They're not consistent with the original TV show's bridge and corridors and crew quarters and stuff like that. And all I can say is thank God for that, because it had been really shite sets, basically.
Well, we've said this before, but you can't.
You have to modernise it.
Yeah, it gets modernised, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a suspension of disbelief. You can't literally have it exactly the same, which is why I think I've probably been a bit more lenient than you have in terms of the new Star Trek, in terms of what I've been willing to let them get away with in order for them to be able to modernise stuff. And I'm really hardcore in terms of I like my consistency in terms of the canon and stuff.
I know. But I live and die by the original series first of all, anyway, and they're starting to tweak that with the cage and everything else. And
yeah, but I am as well. I mean, the original series is still my number one love in terms of Star Trek, and it always will be. But I love Strange New Worlds. This, for me, is propelled past Deep Space Nine and the Next Generation to be my second favourite. Definitely.
Cool.
So, but yeah, it's been a good season. There's only 10 episodes. I wish they would do 26 episodes, 27, like they did with the Next Generation, but they can't do it in terms of costs now. But the shows, the stories have been really good. There've been a lot of character developments. Some characters you like more than others. Some characters I feel they get completely wrong. For the established ones, like, I've got nothing to complain about the actress who plays her, but
just the way it is, unfortunately.
The character of Nurse Chapel.
Yeah, I know who you're on about. Yeah.
1,000,000% wrong. It is just totally wrong. Nurse Chapel in the original series was a very demure, sort of, respectful, bowed down to everybody else, was in love with Spock, and, very romantic sort of, a romanticist sort of character. Whereas she's way too much of a go-getter in this series, and it's just so wrong. It is like it is a different Nurse Chapel.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't want to harp on, but that's unfortunately what these shows do. Doesn't matter if it's Star Trek or anything else; they do tweak them now.
Yeah, and they've tweaked her completely wrong. And that to me is one of the things that ruins it. Is I don't mind the fact that they changed some of the canon and the tweak, the timings in terms of when stuff happened, because as far as I'm concerned, I think, in terms of things like Khan, you could almost argue, well, maybe a lot of data was lost in terms of when things happened because of the Third World War. So therefore, maybe Khan actually happened a bit later than he actually did, than they originally thought, and that sort of stuff. So I can justify that, but what I can't justify is how a character can change so much from Strange New Worlds to the original series when it's supposed to be the same character in the same continuity. Because no matter what, her character would not have turned into the Marjorie Barrett Roddenberry character of Nurse Chapel.
No, it's I don't like to just keep moaning, because I will, because it's like, it's just
Yeah.
What these shows do now.
But just in terms of enjoying it as a Star Trek, I'm fine with it.
Mm.
I don't try and assess it to the old. I just try and assess it as, did I enjoy that show? And take each for themselves, because otherwise I think you could just go bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing I've seen was Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
Not yet. I've been hearing a lot about it, saying it's the best thing since sliced bread.
I wouldn't say it's the best thing since sliced bread, but I would say it is excellent. It's almost like Memento in terms of it's played out of sequence. In some respects.
Oh well, with what the how they dealt with
Yeah,
the,
but that's very
testing.
much a Christopher Nolan sort of thing, isn't it? No, but it's what happens after the testing starts before the testing.
Right. Okay.
But it's very much a Christopher Nolan way of making movies. So he did it in Memento. He's done it in other stuff, like for example Interstellar. So
yeah, because you liked that one, didn't you? You thought you quite enjoyed that.
Interstellar. I thought Interstellar was brilliant. It's, to me, I think Interstellar will be one of those movies that will go down as a modern masterpiece, like 2001. Not the same.
No, not the same.
Not the same. Not the same, because 2001 was more thought-provoking. But I think it is a classic like that. A modern version of it, as a modern equivalent classic. And I've watched that loads now, and I have to admit as well, the Hans Zimmerman, isn't it, who does the score for that? Absolutely love that. And that when I'm actually working at home, I play the theme tune, well, the soundtrack for Interstellar to do work to.
Gets your mojo flowing, as they say.
Yeah, and also when they go down onto the water planet on there, I love, and that one, time is speeded up, and the beat to the music that's playing in the background is the equivalent to 1 day passing on Earth, which I thought was very clever. But Oppenheimer, I won't go into too much detail because I know you haven't
seen it
yet, but it is a really good movie. I can see why people are going bonkers for it. I didn't do the Barbieheimer because I just could not watch Barbie.
Well, I will probably watch it when it comes out on Sky, just to see what it's all about, because I know my missus is like, should we watch it? Whatever.
Yeah. I understand though that Ryan Gosling actually has 2 expressions on his face in this movie, which is 100% more than normal. So.
But yeah, no.
So it's twice the actor he was from any of his previous movies.
It's probably actually Barbie's going to be a film that actually made some money this year compared to the others that didn't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of Oppenheimer, I'd heard that one of the, like a big YouTuber had walked out of Oppenheimer because they couldn't understand what people were talking. And all that I can say is, don't go and watch a Swahili version of Oppenheimer when you can only speak English, because I could understand it perfectly. There was no imbalance in the audio. And I actually talked to my friend afterwards and said, did you hear any imbalance? He said, no, the audio was perfect. My son came with us as well. He said, no, that was great. In matter of fact, I mean, bless him, my son, movies aren't really his bag as much as they are mine. And he gets a bit fidgety. He was riveted to the whole thing. And normally he'll go out of the cinema to go to the loo and come back, and he wouldn't even do that. He held on to it, and it was a 3-hour movie. It's a freaking long movie.
Yeah, but that's highly more enjoyable than watching nearly 3 hours of Indiana Jones.
Didn't you enjoy it?
No. I enjoyed the first 20 minutes. So Indiana Jones, I watched this the other night. I kicked myself thinking it's only a movie. It's going to be fun, And the first 20 minutes was all right. I'm not going to say too much about the aging bit because it is what it is. That's what they can produce for whatever reason. But I couldn't stand his goddaughter. This film isn't an Indiana Jones movie. It's a movie about her and her obsession with money, and he was tagging along for the film at the end of the day. And no, it didn't work. I heard maybe Kingdom of Crystal Skull is probably better than this, but to a certain degree. I mean, the comment came from my missus while watching the tuk-tuk chase scene. She said, "What's this, Benny Hill?" She said. I thought, well said, It's nice to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, but his time as an actor playing that role is gone. If they'd have read that, as other people have said, if you'd actually made a movie, a bit closer to the third one, it would have been great.
Yeah.
But the storyline's a little bit bonkers as well. And the only bit that actually got to me was there's about two bits. There's a bit where he's on about he's climbing the side of the brickwork or rockwork, whatever, and he's on about Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. He starts going on and harping on about that, saying what he's had to put up with, and he's doing this. And then the only bit that really gave me some sentimental thought and closure to the film was the last 5 minutes with Karen Allen recreating their scene on the boat before the submarine, where he was all poorly broken and hurt, and she was on about kissing it, and that was so sweet. But John Williams' score was okay. That was fine. It's not a problem with that. But that film just didn't work for me.
Okay. Question for you.
Go on.
The Dial of Destiny
Mm-hmm.
or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, probably. Minus the Tarzan scenes.
No.
As much as I didn't like his character. I didn't like his Shia LaBeouf's character. I think I despised his goddaughter more. She had no respect as a character, not her as a person. She had no respect for Indiana Jones and what he does and what he's done. She was totally out of order as the character was going in that role. I just despised her. I really did. Didn't like
I think
herself.
you were supposed to. I think that was the idea.
Well, it just didn't make. I hated it because of the film. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah. I see. I would rate it better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but I think that there's only two movies that I would put as worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that being The Crap Jedi and Pret-a-Porter are the two films that I would say are worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
You see, I didn't like Disney got their hands on this, which might have not helped.
No.
Seeing that when it first opens up and you see Disney and Lucasfilm, that sort of grated me a little bit.
Yeah, I have to admit, in terms of both of the last, the 4 and 5 for Indiana Jones, it felt like nobody told the filmmakers that these films were now dead and they kept doing resurrections not very well. Also,
the baddie in this film, which is Mads Mikkelsen's character.
He was all right.
Now, when they're on the train, if you don't want to hear about this, then just switch off for a couple of minutes. When he's on the train having that fight scene, and he gets whacked by that part that's sticking out off the water butt or whatever it was going to be.
Yeah, that would have killed other characters.
Yeah. Or I was expecting to see a scar on his face or something, But it was like, no, I didn't think so. No, as much as I enjoy seeing Indiana Jones and seeing Harrison Ford donning his fedora in the wet. It's a shame, really. And I probably really will only look back at the original three to a certain degree with what love I've got for them. Although we put, if we have to talk about, I probably won't even buy the fifth one on 4K. I won't even buy it. I won't watch it. I don't think I would. It'd be, if it was in a box set, it would stay there like the other one would normally. I just don't. Yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah, there was a reason why Indiana Jones 3 was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. To be fair, and I've maintained this all the way along. I mean, I said to you I thought it was going to be crap, and it is. And I'm sorry, but it's just not good. It's an awful. It's awful in comparison to 1 and 3, and 2 anyway. But I personally think it is better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because that was. I would much rather have diarrhea for a week than watch that once.
I did rewatch it, Kingdom, and it sort of matured a little bit, if you know what I mean. Although there are scenes with Shelley-Birth that I would rather not see in there.
Like all of them.
So. But
I did like the fact that they killed off his son. that was a reason.
I think that was a bit wrong to do that.
Yeah, but it stopped Shia LaBeouf being able to play.
No, I don't know. From a story's perspective, because obviously broke them up. She was going for divorce papers and everything else, weren't they? But no, it's a shame. And so Disney are ruining Star Wars now, and they're just bringing this drivel out.
Are they? Have you seen Ahsoka?
It's all diluted stuff now. They're constantly bringing it out every year now, and it's not like Star Wars was when it came out.
No, but Star Wars has moved into a TV format. It's not movies anymore.
Yeah, but I know that there is going to be movies coming out. But
yeah, there is. There's a new trilogy.
It's Disney just doing what they're doing, and I don't like it. I really don't.
I think that the problem is that they need to stop putting so much concentration on what sex and sexual orientation and colour and religion that someone is, and just let's just write the story and see where it goes, as it were. I think that would solve a lot of problems in terms of what Disney do, because I think they try and shoehorn stuff. I mean, look at the hash up that they've done, with the Snow White and the 7 magical creatures.
Well, and also the mermaid as well.
Yeah.
Disney is. I'm all for whatever you want to do with movies. Don't get me wrong, but it's just sorry. Disney, I despise Disney. I used to think of them. I highly rated them back in the day with everything they did for kids and movies.
Yeah, and I can understand why Disney's doing what they're doing.
But they're taking movies out of Disney Plus now because they're struggling. So you're going to see some of your favourite movies coming off Disney Plus.
Yeah, but we're paying for them.
Hmm.
It's annoying.
So I don't actually pay Disney Plus, so that's fine. But Guardians of the Galaxy, that was a bit of a poor show as well. Really, it wasn't my favourite of the three.
Yeah. You said you've got Paramount Plus, didn't you?
Mm.
Have you watched the new Quantum Leap?
Yes, I watched episode 1. Did I watch episode 1 and 2? I think I did. I think I've seen 2 episodes so far.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's all right. All right, I don't like the way they've done it again, but it was nice to have a little bit of a reference back to old.
Yeah, you see, I actually didn't mind the fact that they've changed the format a little, because you get, what's happening.
Yeah, because it's a him and her this time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, you had 2 guys working on it, but she was working on it as much as he was. Obviously, his memory's a bit scrambled at the minute.
Yeah, but you see the future and the past now, and I quite like that because.
Yeah. No, I think we watched 2 episodes over the last little while ago.
Yeah, I would keep watching it because there is some stuff, and to bring in stuff like the evil jumpers as well.
Yeah.
that was in the original series. So you bring out that sort of concept again, and you get to find out.
I don't know if it's been shoved into the pot of no return yet. There's a few shows.
Oh no, it's coming back.
Has it?
Yeah, it's coming back. It's been greenlit for season 2, evidently, because it's really popular in America. So I understand, and it was one of the few shows me and my son have been sat and watching when it was coming out.
Man, I would like to see what's the word I'd use? A tidy up of Sam's, because he stayed out there. Whether or not we'll get to see him.
I think we will. I think if this goes to seasons 3 and 4, I think that we'll see Scott Bakula reprise his role as Sam.
Don't see why not.
I think that's definitely on the cards.
But they also pay tribute as well.
They do, yeah. And I love wait until you find out who Magic is.
Yeah, but say 2 episodes in, so we actually forgot all about the show. We did just put it on, but we have been watching some other normal stuff at the moment.
Yeah, well, wait until you find out who Magic is, because there's a lot of homages and callbacks to the original show.
Yeah, I'll watch that without any spoilers. But so the last thing, one of my favourite horror movies of its time, has given us another dose with Evil Dead Rise. Big fan of the original 3.
Yes.
More so 1 and 2. But I remember seeing. I don't remember it too often, but there was a remake of 1 that came out as well. But this one here sits within its trilogy or within its universe, and it was really good. There was nods to the original as well in there, which was quite good.
Is this the one that's based around a bank robbery? Because we're talking about Evil Dead Rises, aren't we?
Well, no, it's not a bank. Well, it's not a bank robbery. It's just that they have an earthquake in the flats where they're living.
Yeah.
And it opens up, and you're in the car park. And underneath the car park, because it used to be a bank, this big, used to be a bank, and it opens up, and there's a big gaping hole where the kid goes down.
Right.
And you see all these chains with crosses hanging over this big carcass. Yeah. And it's broken in between, and he opens up and look, and it's the Book of the Dead is sitting in there. And compared to where you had the old tape reel with a microphone in the first one, if you remember, they got vinyl records where the priests recorded what they were talking about and the ceremony. So when he's playing on his deck and reads the incantation that brings it all back, it's really good. It's a good film. It is very bloody, but in a good way. Yeah. And although the original one you had one of them in the cellar, this time it's in the corridor of the flats, locked up. And then, but yeah, I really enjoy. I'd probably watch it again. I did purchase it on Sky with the free code. But yeah, really bloodthirsty, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, actually, this I probably enjoyed more than I would have done with the last Halloween movies that came out. You know, directed by Lee Cronin. He wrote it as well. I did listen to a podcast about him talking about it. There is a little, not you'll know it, Bruce Campbell has a voice. He is in it with a voice for a little bit, but you wouldn't probably recognise him in it. I didn't. But yeah, it's really good. Well worth a watch, I'd say. It's only an hour and a half. It's not a long film. It's 1 hour 36 minutes. So it's very, very well paced, and it keeps coming at you right the way through. There's not much There's not much of a step down from the beginning, anyway. Yeah. And even the beginning, by the beginning starts is very clever as well, actually. Very well. I mean, when it comes on Sky Movies, which it won't be too long, when it's in the store, then it's not too long before it comes out.
When did you get the offer for the code?
Last week on Sky. I got an email.
Oh, I've not got that one.
They said up to $13.99.
Not seen that.
Yeah, it's because I became a platinum subscriber.
Well, I should be as well because I've been on Sky for 20 years, 25 years.
So what are you when you look at your my Sky VIP? What do you come under?
I don't know.
So I've just gone to platinum.
I've no idea.
I
was on the top one.
Isn't there one called Black?
Yeah.
It's on platinum, which is below that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, I was on the top one.
Even actually, I like the way that Sam Raimi gave you the camera angle, which he did with the camera low down.
Yeah.
With the groaning going on as it all goes along through the forest in the first couple of movies. You get that in the leading into the hotel.
I mean, those movies were just so iconic.
So I think, the first one was banned, obviously.
Yeah.
I won't say what the scene is, but there's one scene I thought they were going to recreate something from the first one, but they didn't to that certain degree, should we say? Because I saw it in the cinema when it came out before, and I had it on video when it got banned. But I would thoroughly recommend it. Well worth a watch. It's one I will. Even I wouldn't mind a copy actually, and I think it's pretty cheap on Amazon at the minute from 4K. I think it's quite small. Yeah, really good. Got nothing else to watch at the minute though now for a bit. I know Netflix Cobra Kai is coming back shortly.
Yeah, season 5 or 6, isn't it? Something like that.
The final season is called, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's back shortly, I think, on there. So yeah, that's one thing I'll be watching. But,
I'm a diamond member.
There you go. So that's above platinum. So depending on when you got your upgrade status, so that's when they gave it to me. So that was handy. I did accidentally, because I was looking through the films that I could get, and I was trying to do Mission Impossible, but that's on a pre-order, but it didn't like it, so I might have accidentally pre-ordered a digital copy of that, but whatever. It is what it is. I'll try and sort it out when I speak to him anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, should we?
That thing about the Epic Movie Night thing is offer is available until the 30th of September.
Right.
So.
Cool. So should we? Because I'm sweating here. I don't know about you.
Yes, I am as well.
Should we move to listener questions?
Yep.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, do you want to start? I don't know if I can see them in a minute. I might not be able to. Do you want to start reading us the questions?
Okay, so Mark's questions as always. Are you a fan of cosmetic upgrades in your game characters? Whether they are paid for or by grinding through levels, do you customize the look of your character as you are playing through a game?
I love to customize my characters.
I could give a toss. I go for the stats, I don't go for the look.
But if it's an RPG, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, but
and
you would wear a set before I would. I would always go for the highest thing, but I think that you would probably hold on to wearing a set longer than I would.
Depending on the set stats.
Yeah.
At the moment, I've got them in Starfield. I'm wearing the Mantis set. That's got a pretty high set on it, and it looks pretty cool as well. But for example, on Starfield, you've got a lot of spacesuits which have different attributes. Some will help you with health. Some will help you with resistance to cold, radiation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's always worth having a few sets to stand by too. And yes, I did purchase a horse armor.
We all purchased the horse armor.
Yeah, we did. Okay, the second question is, what was the last game that you paid full price for, and how often do you play it? Is that what it's supposed to say?
And how often do you pay full price?
Oh, hardly ever now. The
Yeah.
last game I purchased full price would have been probably Destiny.
Yeah.
Although, obviously, I like the idea, and ironically, when they had the charts for the gaming, like top 10, number one for some time was the upgrade for Starfield, the premium upgrade, which is what, about 30 quid, because people all had Game Pass, so they all purchased that to get it to play it early. So
I didn't do that.
no, you didn't. I know.
I only played it yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, that was one of the top selling items on the Xbox store. Which I don't mind that. They'll do the same. They'll probably do the same for Forza Motorsport. And they'll probably do something. And that
but it makes sense, because then they do get some extra cash from you because you've bought Starfield.
Yeah.
Or you've bought the upgrade to Starfield, and they know that if you like it and you're still playing it when they take it off the system, you'll then go and buy the game.
Not that they probably will, but yeah, you'd get it really cheap anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And obviously, for that sort of game, we're going to see DLC coming out of our ears.
Yeah, and you're going to pay for that.
Yeah. So they get you in one way, don't they?
Of course they do. Get you one way or the other.
Okay, do you want to do his third question?
Okay. Have you? Well, in terms of my answer to that question, it wasn't quite full price.
The cat thing, that game.
Which game?
What about the cat? That 20 quid game.
No, I played for that on PlayStation Plus.
All right.
So I didn't have to, or premium, so I didn't have to pay anything for that.
Yeah.
No, the last game I paid full price for was, well, actually, I paid for it twice. Diablo 4.
No, that's my last game, so yeah, it's mine, yeah.
Yeah, I bought the disc version of it on Xbox, and I've now got the PC version because they had a sale on the.
I do apologise. Yeah,
store.
Diablo 4, yeah.
Yeah, but I tend not to buy full price games now because, unless it was something like an Assassin's Creed, which obviously that's going to be about 35 quid. Unless it's a franchise I really want, I'll be more prepared to wait, and I'll also be more selective in terms of what platform I buy it on as well. So I will probably err towards PC more than Xbox or PlayStation. But if it's on a console and it's only on the 2, I will go PlayStation on the thought of it'll turn up on Game Pass. So then I don't have to double dip, and I'll just complete it again on Game Pass if I like it. And if not, then I've not wasted my money, as it were, because I'll get rid of it on there.
Okay.
So the his last question was: have you ever played a game that you felt educated by, and do educational games work?
They probably do work because that education's good.
Yeah.
However, I can't think of the last game I played. Mine would have probably been an Assassin's Creed game with a bit of.
I was going to say the Assassin's Creed 2s. That's what came to mind. And also, I know it sounds a bit daft, but Minecraft, because of some of the mixing of stuff and where how you can get certain things.
True, possibly,
yeah.
Okay. So on to Facebook. Paul Wilson's question: which era of gaming was or is your most favourite, and do you feel that it's likely to be surpassed?
I can't say I've got a favourite because there's aspects of each one that I like.
Mm.
Um,
I think a lot of us would have all said the 360 era was a good era for gaming.
It was a milestone.
And it's
Yeah, because you had the Wii with the remote motion control, you had the Kinect, you had the online play, you had the downloading games from an online service. You had all of that over that period.
But we still have that now, don't we? To a certain degree, we still have it in different forms.
Yeah. To me,
this is ongoing, isn't it?
It's what transformed us from retro gaming to the modern era of gaming. Although, granted, like you can say that the 360 era is retro now. I tend to think if anything is retro is, can I go into Argos and buy that console brand new?
They're doing
the
a 360, aren't they?
Retro.
They're doing a 360 retro console, aren't they?
Are they? Not heard of that.
Sure, I still say, because haven't they stopped the store now on the 360 apparently? It's now killed that.
Yes. Yeah.
But we have to move on, don't we?
Oh yeah, but you can still download your old games, I think.
Yeah, well you can on the
on your 360.
Yeah, I mean I've got a 360 under here.
Yeah, I've got one in there as well.
And the Kinect still sits there as well, but it just sits in a box.
Actually, the Kinect 2 is still connected in the living room.
It's really?
Yeah. Not that it's ever used.
No.
I can't remember the last time I switched on my Series X. Excuse me, getting tired. Other than to get an update for it, I've not played on there.
Okay.
Paul Wilson.
Scott Kidd.
Oh, sorry, Scott Kidd. Yeah, we just done Paul Wilson, haven't we? Scott Kidd's ask, as we get closer and closer to Moore's laws and the big step getting smaller, what do you think is the next step for gaming?
I don't know. It can be about speed, isn't it? A lot of it's about speed and the times it takes to load, and that's going to get improved, isn't it? And graphics can only go so far till you're real.
It's visual and audio fidelity. It's loading speed and processing speed. That's the main things, isn't it? And I don't know where are PCs going to go. There's lots of talk about quantum computers now. If that's the case, God knows what graphics would be like on video games.
When I was watching Diablo 4, I was playing that, and you've seen some of the video footage that goes in the cutscenes. I mean, it's amazing, really, isn't it? It's just outstanding. Yeah. And they can't really go. I don't think you can go really much further than that.
Well, I mean, I was playing House of Ashes.
I need to get on that at some point.
Put the video up of that as well, and I'm not. You look at that, and it looks so real. Yeah.
I mean, even the other one, the one, the horror game. The one that's got the all the kids that are like a Friday the 13th setup with the park and that. I mean, that looks so good. You recognise the characters in that. You know who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, by then, anything else happens, I'll probably be by then be 60 under at that point. We'll never see it. So anyway, so Jason Toon, he's asking us, when did you see the new hardware? We haven't seen or heard anything about the new Nintendo console on the horizon. From that point of view,
I think we'll hear about the Switch 2 next year. I think we will see in the next 18 months a mid-cycle upgrade to the PS5 and the Series X. We've already seen an upgrade to the Series S. You
see, I don't know what we'll get or what we will get. Would it be? Is that going to be worth something at the moment though? An upgrade to the Xbox and the PS5.
I don't think so. You know, you can put a few extra teraflops of processing power on there. It's not going to make a great deal of difference.
It's not going to stop you playing on all the games that are coming out. So obviously you've got some of the older machines. They don't play them, but it's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Have we missed?
No, that's it. Short this time.
Yeah, well, actually, not too bad, but I know very hot and sweaty, so we need to cool off.
Yes, indeed.
Get a fan out and put Starfield on. Once I've seen him.
Yeah,
Okay,
you'll put Starfield on and I'll edit the show.
Yeah, it'll take you 5 minutes.
Yeah,
unless you want some video footage.
Yes, I do. But I've got Starfield. I don't need that.
You don't want to show too much of that anyway, really, to be fair.
Well, to be honest, I'm only going to be showing the first hour and a half, so it's not going to be that. I think anything in the first hour and a half of an 80-hour game is not a big reveal.
If anyone doesn't want to see, they can just
Fast
listen.
forward. Or just listen. Just switch off the video. Minimise it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll start then. So Twitter @Steve07, best place to find me social media. Xbox is Steve07. PSN, because I do get the friends requests still. I do put it on every now and then with a PSN, so the real Steve07 on there. Instagram and my YouTube channel, The Vinyl Cues. Okay.
Okay, so for me, you can get hold of me on Twitter, PSN, Xbox, Steam as HERJUK, and then on Epic as Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget about the show. We've got our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got the Twitter Pop Culture Gamer tag. If you go onto there, you can follow us on there. We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page. You can also email podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. And then also don't forget, you can find us on Spotify. Just go onto there and do a search for Pop Culture Gamers.
Marvellous. So all we have left to do is say thank you very much for listening to the show. We will see you at some point in a week or two, depending on how we are. So as we say from myself, it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him.
Good night, guys.
Good night.